there guys, so next up in our Halloween series we have Halloween 5, and this is one messy ass movie. But guys, let's jump straight in and start talking about it. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. So guys, Halloween 5 was released in 1988 and it was released not even a year after the last movie. Now the reason for this was Halloween 4 did so well at the box office that Mustafa Akid pretty much pushed the movie right into production and tried to get it out as quick as possible. Now because of that, the movie does suffer a lot. There are a lot more negatives than positives I have for this movie. So just to change things up guys, I'm going to start this time around with the negatives and after that we'll do the positives. Number 1 on my negative list is the characterization of Dr. Loomis and Jamie Lloyd. So we're going to start with Jamie Lloyd. When she was introduced to Halloween, she was a huge fan favourite in Halloween 4. I really enjoyed the character, you cared for the character and there was a lot to her. With this movie, for some reason, they make the character mute, so she doesn't have many lines, and she really doesn't have much to do. As for Dr. Loomis, he gets a complete personality transplant in this movie, so he's a completely different character than what we got beforehand. Yes, Donald Pleasence is still playing him, so there are still traits of that Loomis we know and love, but this Loomis, he's a lot harder, he's a lot tougher, especially on Jamie Lloyd, and I didn't really like that about the character. There are some uncomfortable scenes in this movie where he's kind of shaking Jamie and just getting quite aggressive with her that wasn't needed for the film, especially when you know the character of Loomis and how much he wants to take down Michael. Seeing his kind of descent into madness where he basically puts Jamie's life on the line, it's not too nice to see. Both characters, they do have their story arcs definitely in this movie. Loomis, again in this one, he does still have some great lines and he has some great scenes in there, especially with Michael, but at the same time he's just not somebody you root for, especially when he's around Jamie. And as for Jamie, I liked her a lot in that last movie. She had some great scenes and just her dialogue, her acting ability was top notch. So it's really unfortunate that they had a child actor that could carry the movie and they just took away most of her lines. The other returning character to the movie is Ellie Cornell's Rachel, so the foster sister of Jamie's character. And again, just like Loomis, her personality is much different in this movie. There are still traits of Rachel there because of the actress's performance, but just the way she's written in this movie is not similar at all to Halloween 4. So in Halloween 4, she always fought back against Michael. She did everything she could to protect Jamie. With this one, straight away this is a much different character than what we got in Halloween 4. Jamie Lloyd, she was attacked 1 year beforehand in Haddonfield in the last movie, but for some reason in this movie her parents have left town on that same night as well as Rachel. For me, seeing Rachel in the last movie, I just don't think she would have been a person that would have left her foster sister there a year after those events, especially when Michael's body hadn't been recovered. Also, her death scene in this one, again, I wasn't a huge fan of it. In the last movie, as I said, she fought Michael constantly. She was always aware of what was going on. In this one, they have her in a shower in a towel, going outside the house, hearing noise and not really knowing what's going on. To me, that's just not the character of Rachel, and the way she dies as well, Michael grabs the scissors and impales her with it. I just thought it was quite disrespectful to the character. Unfortunately, her replacement is Tina, who is pretty much hated by most Halloween fans. Now for me guys, when I was growing up, I didn't really hate Tina, I actually enjoyed the character, but over time I have seen why some people definitely despise her. The character of Tina is much different than any of the other kind of final girl characters we had gotten in the Halloween series, but also in slasher films in general. To me, she's kind of a bit of a mixture of Linda and Annie from the original movie. She is a bit of a smart aleck, but she's also quite ditzy and very unaware of her surroundings. And that does grate on the audience. She does some really silly things throughout this movie, and she just makes some really bad decisions also. She also comes across generally as quite annoying. She's constantly jumping around the place. Her relationship with Jamie I did like, but again, when you had Rachel in the movie and especially Ellie Cornell coming back, I just didn't think they needed to replace her. Other characters in this movie, you've Tina's friends, Sam, and I think his name is Styx. They're fun characters. Are you really going to remember them throughout the series? No. But for what they are, they're fun characters. I like them in it, and I like that they do have a good few scenes throughout the movie rather than just being there to be killed off. Rounding out the cast, we have two cops in this movie that are kind of there to protect Jamie throughout the film, and I absolutely hate them. To me, this is probably the worst part of this entire movie. I don't know what the director was thinking. I know he kind of wanted to add some humour to the movie, but when you have two cops who are meant to be there protecting the main character and they're going around to clown music, you know your movie has a problem.
So embarrassed.
It's what we're here for.
Rescue cats.
Find dogs.
That's a job.
And we love it.
But the director of this movie, to be honest, he did make a lot of bad decisions with this movie. And it's pretty much well known that him and Mustafa Akkad clashed a lot on set during the filming. So for one, you know, the Myers house itself, they couldn't find a similar house, so instead we have this big gothic mansion that really does not resemble the Myers house in any way. Even the character of the man in black in this movie, so they kind of added this character just to create some sense of mystery about Michael. But the thing was, nobody on set really knew who he was, and they weren't planning on answering it until the next sequel. You know, different things on set had him being like a cult leader at one point. Maybe he was going to be Michael Myers' twin brother, so Don Shanks, who plays Michael, actually played the role of the man in black in different parts of the movie. But again, there was kind of no idea where they were going to go with this character, and when you're making a movie and you're introducing a character with the sole purpose of explaining who he is in the sequel, you have a major problem. And speaking of Michael Myers in this movie, you know, he's not one of my favourite Myers. I don't like the mask in this film. Again, I don't get why when they were making the Halloween movies they just couldn't get the same mask every year. So this one, you know, in the last movie Myers' mask was way too white. In this one they do get that bluish grey tone back to it again. But of course it looks completely different than all the other masks in the series. Now I do like Don Shanks' performance as Michael. I will say that there are a few things in there I like, and I will go into those in the positives, but just the mask itself immediately turned me off, as well as this weird connection to the man in black. Another crazy idea with this movie was the character of Dr. Death, which is essentially meant to be in the opening scene of the movie and explain how Michael came back. So throughout Halloween 5 we do see the mark of Thorn on Michael's wrist. You know, we see the man in black has the Thorn mark as well. But the original idea was this kind of hermit character, Dr. Death, would actually be the one who he'd kind of put that mark on Michael, do some kind of voodoo magic and get him to come back to life. When Michael came back to life, he pretty much killed off the character Dr. Death straight away. But again, it just shows you that they didn't really know what they were doing with this series. They wanted to bring magic and voodoo, all of this stuff in, so it just looked like it was a whole bunch of different ideas and nobody knew really the direction they were going on. Like, again, it's also well known that during filming the script constantly changed, which is a big no-no when you're making a movie. And guys, my last negative would just be the ending of this movie. I'm not a huge fan of it. You know, Michael, he does get captured, he's in a prison cell, and the man in black type character comes in and breaks him out with, I think it's like a shotgun or a rifle, something like that. Jamie Lloyd goes in, you know, and she sees that he's gone, and we just kind of cut to her screaming. I didn't like the scene personally. I thought it looked really cheap. I think the police station or the jail kind of just looked like a set. I've never been a fan of that ending. It's probably the worst ending to me in the entire Halloween series. But now guys, on to my positives with this movie. There are not a lot of positives with this one, but what this film does right, it does really, really right. My first positive, guys, is Myers himself. So the mask, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of, but I do like the characterization of Michael in this one. You know, just the way he kind of stalks a lot of people throughout this movie. We didn't really see that much in the last few movies. So one scene in particular is Tina and Sam are kind of going through kind of like a wooded area, and we constantly see Myers in the background in the woods just watching them. And you see that a lot. Even the character of Rachel, as I said, I don't like her death, I don't like her character in that scene, but I do like the way we watch Michael seeing her, you know, outside the house, inside the house, with POV shots again. So I like that as well. You know, even Myers takes his mask off at one point in this movie, and I didn't mind it. It reminded me a little bit of the first movie. So there are a few scenes like that that I do really like. As always, you can kind of count on Donald Pleasence to always give a good performance, and he does. You know, his kind of character here, it's very Shakespearean with his mission to take down Michael. So a couple of different scenes I liked with him. One in particular, again, it's a nighttime scene, but Michael again is in the woods and Loomis is talking to Michael about, you know, finally letting this rage go. That is my favourite scene in this entire movie. You know, it's known as well that Donald Pleasence was meant to do the scene just kind of talking into the woods, but he asked Don Shanks, who plays Myers, to do the scene with him. And the reason for that, even though he couldn't see Myers, he just wanted to make sure somebody was out there. And that just shows you how much of a great actor he was. Every kind of scene like that he needs to deliver, he delivers in spades.
It will destroy you too. One day, Michael, this rage which drives you, you think if you kill them all, it will go away.
There are also a lot of good chase scenes in this film that I really liked. One in particular has Jamie Lloyd, and she's kind of being chased through this wooded field kind of area by Myers in a car. So he's driving full speed trying to hit her with the car. And when they were making the movie, Danielle Harris had to pretty much do her own stunts, and she was actually chased by this car. Now if you watch the movie, you can see, you know, there are times she gets quite close to the car. At the end of the scene, Myers, he drives into a tree and the car pretty much kind of starts to set on fire. Now when they were making the movie as well, I think the director was so shocked how well the scene came off, he forgot to kind of shout cut, and Don Shanks was just sitting in the car wondering, you know, when he should get out. So scenes like that are great in this movie, and again, when they do them right, they do them so right. You know, even Tina in that scene, she kind of gives her life for Jamie, and she comes across as this tragic character. I just wish they had more of that throughout the entire movie. We also have the laundry chute scene where Michael is pretty much just chasing Jamie throughout the Myers house, and she does hide out in the laundry chute. Now it's a very tense scene. It's a great suspenseful scene as Jamie's trying her best to crawl her way up to the top of that laundry chute while Myers is stabbing his way inside. I'm kind of happy actually that they didn't make it as bloody as it was meant to be, because it just relies on suspense, and for me that's the best thing you can have in a Halloween movie. And guys, my last positive with this movie is definitely the kills. So there are a lot of great kills in this one. My standout kill for sure is as Sam and Spitz are kind of having sex in a barn. Michael impales Spitz with a pitchfork and just kind of chases Sam throughout the barn. Now what I like is rather than her just dying straight away, she does try to fight back. So she grabs the pitchfork out of Spitz's back and goes after Michael. Unfortunately, you know, it doesn't work out for her. Michael does kill her with the pitchfork, but that's a great scene and it's a great kill. So we get little kills like that throughout the movie. I like the first kill in it. I'm not a huge fan of Rachel's kill, but again, if that was on a different character, I wouldn't mind it as much. But guys, that is just my positives and my negatives on this movie. This one, yes, it is definitely low on my list in the Halloween series, just because the decisions made more by the director than anybody else. You know, what they did with Loomis and Jamie, and even just killing off Rachel, there are a lot of negatives that you have to overlook to enjoy this movie. But let me know, guys, your thoughts on Halloween 5 in the comments below. If you're a fan of it, let me know why you're a fan of it. And if you don't like it, let me know that also. As always, guys, subscribe to the channel, especially if you like the Halloween series, as I will be continuing to review all of the movies. Until next time, guys, Heidi ho.